Travis Jennings here, your finance concierge. Now this specific video is going to talk about what we do in terms of wealth creation, in terms of changing the way that our industry operates. Now if I was to ask you what the biggest problem in the industry is, most people, and I guess I shouldn't say this, I don't have a statistic to back it, but I would say that most people would say a lack of trust, right? And where does that lack of trust come from? Why would we not trust somebody? When somebody knows something that we don't know, we often wonder, well, I often wonder if they're telling me the truth. And if there's a financial incentive to them guiding me in a certain way, well then further muckies up the water, right? So think in terms of law. Why is the law written in Latin? Why does it have to be that complicated? Now I like to call this built-in job security, right? If it's too hard to read as a normal lay person, well then it's difficult to defend yourself. It's difficult to follow the letter of the law. Think of medical. In the medical world, it used to be you go to the doctor, you believe what he says, and that's the end of it. But now, based on all the lawsuits that I see in the malpractice arena, I think that they're humans as well. So we have things like online resources for WebMD, which are becoming more popular. Why? Because people are getting to the point where they would rather know for themselves rather than trust somebody else. So now we get to the financial services arena. Let's think about that. In the financial services arena, people are very smart. They've got all these designations after their name and all this wonderful cool stuff. At the end of the day, what is it that they're doing? They're in charge, if we're talking investment people, they're in charge of providing us with the guidance to make the best choices on our money. Now, a lot of people teach, I am not saying that they don't. But what I am saying is that there's definitely some areas of my industry that I think could be more transparent. So the idea behind a finance concierge is you could keep your advisor or you could replace your advisor. All I care about is that whatever you have going on in your life, it's effective as possible for you. That means something to me. Now, I want to explain that. Is it better to know how to check your advisor, to know how to spot check if he's tucking away compensation like kickback fees or commissions? Does that help or does it hurt? Now, what if it was very easy to check? There's this website, you may have heard of it, Yahoo? Yahoo! You didn't know I was a singer, did you? So, Yahoo. If you go to the Yahoo homepage and you click on the left-hand column, they have the Finance tab. Now the Finance tab actually is a third-party website that provides unbiased information pertaining to investments. So we have another video, you'll want to look it up. It talks specifically about how to use this Yahoo Finance website to gather all the data that you need in order to spot check your advisor or be your own advisor. Now why would I take time out of my life to educate you so that you don't need me anymore? Doesn't make a lot of sense unless I just don't care about the current model. I don't think it's working in my opinion because I think that we need more transparency. So in my opinion, if I could teach you what I do, how I evaluate things, how I check things, how I look for cost, how do I determine if they should stay where they're at. If I can teach that to you, well then I'll really have to raise my game to impress you enough to work with me, right? And is that a bad thing? No, it doesn't matter who your advisor is. The more you know, the better it is. I'm going to say this one time, and it's very important. Nobody cares more about your money than you. Not me, not your advisor, not your Uncle Joe. It's your money, you care. If you do not educate yourself, or if you sit in the office with your advisor and you give the impression that you don't care and you trust them, how much extra attention do you think you're going to get? Do you remember that old adage, the greasy sprocket gets the grease? Same concept here. If you know how to sit down with that advisor and say, hey, you remember that recommendation you made for American funds? It was an A-shared mutual fund. I think it's okay if that's where you think I should be. The issue is, why didn't you sell me the I-share? The A-share has a 5.5% commission, but the I-share doesn't. So wouldn't it make more sense to have the I-share? Guess what? In the future, You probably won't get any recommendations for A-shared mutual funds that have the huge cost, would you? So learning how to spot check, learning how to know for yourself. When you get that statement, do you really know how to evaluate it, or do you just keep track of the balance? It matters, doesn't it? So, allow us to teach you. Okay? We have a specific module specifically for this where you can jump on a webinar and our team will gladly teach it to you. Once you know it, you take really good notes, you don't need us anymore. You don't need me anymore for that topic. But what I've done in the process is I've earned a little credibility with you, right? I've shown you some stuff. So that means in the future, you have another question, you have another concern, there's something else that I can teach. And if I can continue to be your teacher, if I can be your concierge, if I can bring you solutions and education and empower you to do better, how is that a bad thing? Especially if any compensation that we ever receive comes out of the value that we create. Again, keep your team. We're going. One other example is annuities are very popular. Annuities and life insurance. Now there is an investment out there and it's really good, and this is simply for comparison's sake. This is not a recommendation. But why do we keep money safe in the savings account? We keep money safe in the savings account because it's liquid and it's safe, right? We want to have it just in case something comes up. Do you know if your money is lawsuit protected in that savings account? Now, how many investments out there do you get security should the market fall? You don't lose anything. There's some. One of them that's very popular is the indexed annuity and indexed universal life. Now, I'm not going to get into the details, and again, this is not a recommendation. But for simplicity's sake, I'm going to pull back the curtain for you. If it was a 10-year contract, that means that your money goes to the insurance company. I help it get there. Your money's tied up for 10 years. That company is going to pay me for putting you in that contract with them. If the money's tied up for 10 years, do they have any concern about paying me? They pay me. All is well in the world. 6 months later, you are unhappy because I lied to you. You break your contract, there's a 10% penalty. Have you ever asked yourself, what is that 10% penalty actually for? Now, the normal response is, well, it's actually the 10% penalty is because the company invested the money long term and I am breaking my contract and I'm ripping the money away. But I want you to think about it, just open your eyes a little bit. Now, if I already got compensated from this company, that means the insurance company gave me cash and I walked that way. So if you break your contract with them, what is the penalty recovering? I have never met a client that was aware of that concept. Okay? If the insurance company paid a sales commission and then you have to break your contract and they charge you a cost, certainly that sales commission has something to do with that, right? Did you know that there are investments, not all of them, but there are investments where you can have guaranteed no loss, no risk whatsoever in the stock market with no contract, walk away whenever you want. Literally every single day you're in the account, the value goes up by a little bit. And if the market does great, you get some gains. The problem is most of the time it's sold with a big, long contract. But if the advisor is willing to tell the insurance company, no, I did my work. This family is going to love this investment account. They don't need a contract. They can leave whenever they want. They can't possibly hand me a check and me walk out of the door, right? That doesn't make any sense. So, how would I get paid? What if I told them I'll take less, give me less, and I'll take a little bit for every year that you stay there? Well, then I'm betting that I did a really good job pairing you with this company. And if I didn't, and you break your contract and you leave with no penalties, well, they're going to take the money they gave me back because I gave you that liquidity. Does that make sense? That's a big one. I want you to really think about that. I don't care who your advisor is, what designation he is. You don't have to tie your money up. There are other solutions. And you need to understand that with the long contracts comes catches. In a lot of cases, they're okay, but you need to understand them. So the point of a financial concierge is to pull back the curtain and show you so that you are empowered to make better decisions. Guys, the reality is, somebody without financial sense, it isn't a one-time thing. It happens their entire life. So let's start the process of learning, of becoming empowered, so that we can grow. Guys, thank you very much. We'll see you on the next video. We're going to share some very specific solutions for business owners with regards to reducing expenses.